My name is Mordechaj Livni, formerly Max Livni. I'm 95 years old. I was born in Prague to a very old Jewish family. The family goes back, documented at least about 200 years, but probably they lived there very much longer. I went through the Holocaust at age about 13 to 20 and came to Israel after the Second World War in 1949. Since then I am living in the north of Israel and worked for all these years, practically 60 years, in technical professions, most of the time in high-tech as a mechanical designer. After we came to Israel, I was already married in Czechoslovakia. A few of us former prisoners at ghetto Terezín met, and we decided that it would be a pity to just leave that past behind us, because we all had spent there a few years with quite good relations between us. So we decided to meet here. Givat Chaim was chosen because it's in the middle of the country and it was most easy for everybody to get here. Also there were a number of our friends living here in the kibbutz, and they convinced the kibbutz to enable us to erect here this center. It wasn't in the beginning it wasn't meant to be a museum. It was just some kind of social circle meeting about once a year. Later it developed into a kind of educational and museal institution. When we founded the Terezin, none of us thought that it would be such a relatively well-developed museum and officially accredited as such. We thought it would be rather a center for us, the survivors, and also for the kibbutz as a kind of center for remembering Terezin, but we didn't think of outreaching to other publics. Nobody is a prophet. None of us could have thought about what the Terezin would be 50 years later. But in any case, what it developed into is most certainly in the spirit of all of us who started it, because it's doing the job we actually wanted to be done, to not forget Terezín and to leave some kind of a footprint for future generations. It's a very difficult thing to try to promote or to preserve the memory of those years in the Holocaust. But since I know that even today the memory of the very old, hard times of the Jewish people is preserved, like the Spanish Inquisition, not to speak of the fall of the temple in Jerusalem. So there is actually, I would say, we do have to preserve the memory of the Holocaust, because it was the greatest and on a scale never before seen anywhere of catastrophe that befell the Jewish people. 6 million that never happened before, not to Jews and not to anybody else. So there is absolutely some kind of necessity to preserve the memory of that, especially since otherwise it will just drown in the history of mankind, which it shouldn't. Looking back at my personal experiences in the Holocaust, first of all, I am amazed. I am amazed that I survived, because I survived very, very hard times in a number of concentration camps where most of the people around me did not survive. And I am some kind of outstanding person. I don't know why. I am not especially clever, I am not especially strong, and I survived all kinds of things, from diseases and epidemics, and not to speak of selections at Auschwitz, and I am still here after 95 years. So I don't know, I don't believe in any higher power that saved me. It is just a lottery, it's a luck, a thing of luck. I believe that the Holocaust made me think of the important things in life. Important things in life is love. Important thing in life is having some kind of direction to try for a better future for our children and our grandchildren and the generations to come. Though I am not very optimistic that this lesson really is being learned, since in the last decades we witnessed all kinds of brutal developments in various parts of the world. So I am not sure that humanity has learned much. But there is no other way. The only way to get to some kind of better life is to try to remember and to tell the story to the next generations. So maybe they will not do all the mistakes the generations of my parents, of my grandparents did. I grew up in a family where things were very, very fixed. I was quite sure since a very young age that I would study to be an engineer in electronics. So electronics didn't exist at the time, but electrotechnique. And the normal way would have been, of course, to stay in Prague. Nobody thought of emigrating at that time. The family was not Zionist. And just to build my life there in that direction. Nobody thought of emigrating or starting any other life than what was predictable at the time.